What began in June 2024 as a space to amplify autistic and neurodivergent voices has grown into something far bigger. A platform for raw, honest conversations about neurodivergence, disability, burnout, inclusion, mental health, and how our identities shape the way we move through the world. From the start, our mission has been clear: to go beyond the headlines, beyond stereotypes, and explore the real lived experiences that often go unheard. Over the past year, we've spoken with parents, professionals, educators, advocates, and everyday people, all united by a commitment to building a more inclusive and accessible world. But what's mattered most is the community. Those of you who listen, share, and remind us, finally, someone gets it. Thank you for being here. This is just the beginning.
Looking for authentic conversations that go beneath the surface? Tune in now to the Deep Dive podcast. Visit us at www.deepdiveau.net. That's deepdiveau.net. And follow us across your favorite platforms: YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Facebook. Just search at the Deep Dive AU. Join us as we dive deep into stories of neurodivergence, lived experience, and creating a more inclusive world. The Deep Dive podcast. Conversations that matter. Stories that connect.
This is the Deep Dive podcast. And here is your host, Michael Coles.
Marie-Clare Couper is the Executive Officer of the Brain Injury Association of Tasmania, the organisation responsible for delivering the National Assistance Card program across Australia. With a strong background in advocacy and community leadership, Marie-Clare is passionate about improving access, understanding and inclusion for people living with a disability, health condition or brain injury. In her role, she oversees the development and national delivery of the National Assistance Card, an initiative designed to support individuals who may have difficulty communicating their needs in everyday or emergency situations. Marie-Clare works closely with service providers, organisations and communities to increase awareness of invisible disabilities and to promote safer, more inclusive interactions and the broader community. Marie-Clare Couper, welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hey Michael, thanks for having me.
So what is the National Assistance Card and what purpose does it serve?
It's quite a simple concept really. The National Assistance Card is a personalised card for people, currently for people with brain injury and autism. It's a way of being able to communicate the impacts of that person's disability and the assistance or support that they might require. The purpose really is giving people with disability a choice about how to disclose their disability, and especially at times where communication might be challenging for them.
Okay, so how is the National Assistance Card used in everyday and emergency situations?
Every week we're getting more and more examples of how people are using the card. Primarily people are taking it with them when they go out in the community. So it might be on a lanyard around their neck or it might be in a wallet. And they're showing the card at times where they might need additional support. So that could be if they're going into a service or even into everyday community environments like a library or a cafe. Public transport is something that we've seen people use. And also, like you mentioned, in times of emergencies. So we have examples of people where maybe there's a condition that they're experiencing and they need extra support, or maybe there's the environment has become triggering for them, and so they can anticipating that they may need that support. So that might be showing general people in the community to ask for additional support, or it might be providing the card to first responders or emergency services in an actual emergency.
Okay, so who is currently eligible to apply for a National Assistance Card in Australia?
Yeah, so the card, it initially started for the brain injury community. The National Assistance Card is owned by the Brain Injury Association of Tasmania, and we had a brain injury assist card here for many years. It was with a lot of interest from other brain injury organisations around the country that we made the card available nationally, and then we received a lot of interest and support to have the card rolled out for other disability types. So it's now also available nationally for the autism community.
Okay. So what specific information is included on the National Assistance Card?
Look, I've got a little example here for you. Oh, no, it's blurring it out.
No, it's
On
not blowing it out now.
It isn't now? Okay. Oh, now it is. So basically on the front of the card, it has the person's first name and last name. It has their photo and it also has their date of birth. And just the one line that says your understanding and assistance is appreciated. And then on the back of the card, it has the person's disability type and it lists 5 different impacts that they are experiencing. So this is an example card, and that includes things like difficulty with social cues, feeling overwhelmed, getting stuck on a topic or behaviour, information processing difficulties. And this is actual example card of somebody who's given us permission to use that. So people can actually choose to pick down from some of our most common impacts, or they can actually choose to write their own because we know that everyone's quite different. It also includes the person's contact person and their phone number. So very important if people have carers or support people that they would like to have contacted in the case of an emergency. And then the other really beautiful thing that has is a QR code. And that QR code links to a site. So someone can scan the QR code and it will take them through to where the person can include more information about themselves. And that might be in writing, or they might choose to include a short video where they're in their own words, they're able to explain the particular impacts that they have and the supports that they might need.
Okay. So is there any age restrictions for applicants applying for the card?
No, currently there's no age restrictions, and we actually have a lot of children and young people with their parents or their carers applying for them on their behalf. And that's a really beautiful way of, as children develop, being able to take the card with them. So it might be if they're starting at a new year at school, or they're starting to undertake new extracurricular activities, being able to take the card with them. And it's a really lovely way of being introduced, to be able to introduce themselves to people. And as they grow and develop, the information on the card can be updated as well, particularly on the QR code, which is really important because we know young people are changing and developing all the time. So being able to keep that information current is, really important.
Okay. So what supporting documents do you actually need when you actually apply for the card?
Basically, we do require some kind of validation of the person's disability type. And so usually that's some kind of letter, report, or certificate from a professional who is eligible to make those statements. So we often receive letters from GPs, reports, or letters from medical specialists, such as a neurologist. We also accept letters from clinical neuropsychologists or psychologists and allied health professionals, so physiotherapists, occupational therapists, speech pathologists, that kind of thing.
Okay. So how can someone who isn't currently eligible for the card express interest in the card being expanded to include their disability or health condition?
Yeah, so look, we love receiving expressions of interest because it is our ambition that the card will be available to all disability types in the future. So people can go to our website, which is nationalassistancecard.com.au. They can click on the eligibility button and you'll go through to a link that will take you to an expression of interest form. And this is where you can really put down information about your disability type and why you think that would be useful to you. And we do actually collect and store that information, and it is useful for us when we're applying for funding to roll the card out to new disability types.
Okay. So what are the steps involved in applying for the National Assistance Card online?
So first you'll need to make sure you meet those eligibility requirements for the card. And then you will be asked to fill in, when you go to the website for the application process, you'll be asked to fill in your personal details and the details of your nominated contact person. Then you'll get to the next page where you have a checklist for you to choose from, which are around the impacts that you experience due to your disability or health condition. And just remember, you can also create your own there if the options that we provide don't meet your needs. And then you can print up to 5 impacts on the card. So if there are more than 5, you can still click those boxes, but they'll be included on the QR code. So just think about that if you're trying to decide which ones to pick. The applicant then can choose to add more information on the QR code, and the application system does support you to do that in writing or to record a short video or both. The next step then is that you go to the process of uploading a photograph and your supporting documents. And finally, then there's the payment for the card, and you can pay for the card via credit card or by PayPal. It's really important for people to remember that if you don't finish the application in your first go, which is very common, you can always come back and complete it later. So some people might get partway through and don't have the supporting documentation, for example. They can wait until they get that information, come back to the application and upload that. I might just add that the application process, I know it might sound a bit daunting to some people, but we've had a lot of feedback for people to say that they've actually found the application process really helpful for them, particularly if they've gone through that with a support person or with an allied health professional. So it's actually helped them to really work through in a therapeutic way what challenges they are having when they're out in the community and what supports they would like, and that they've found that actually a very helpful process and a learning experience for them as well.
Okay, so how much does it cost to get a new national assistance card or a replacement card, for example?
Yeah, so a new card costs $44 and a replacement card costs $22. I might just add that you can update the information on the QR code at any time. So a replacement card's only really required if the information on the card has changed or if the person has lost the card. The cost really goes towards the card production and also helps us to create resources and do a lot of this sort of community educational work. We also have many organisations who pay for the card or who will reimburse the person with no cost. So, for example, NDIS, people with an NDIS plan, compensation insurers and some service providers will actually pay for the card. After you pay, you'll get a confirmation code with a receipt that you can use to ask your provider for reimbursement. If you're not able to pay, and this does happen because of social or financial hardship, you can, when you get to the payment section, a person can click that they're unable to pay in the application, and in that case we waive the cost, and there's no requirement to provide any evidence of that. It's really important for us that that everyone is able to access the card, and we don't want people to feel that if they're unable to, that's going to hinder them from getting a card.
Okay, so how can national assistance card holders help card holders communicate their needs more confidently, and how can others help with that as well?
So the card provides, it's very simply, it's a way of sharing that really important information without having to repeat verbally what a person needs, especially in stressful situations or when things are going wrong for the person. And we know that in those really high stress situations, being able to communicate clearly is often one of the first things that go out the window. So many card holders say that they just feel more confident having the card with them. So having it on them, knowing that if something happens that they can use that card. And then we've had some really lovely responses from people where they've said that the card feels like an insurance policy that helps them for feeling brave when they want to venture out, or feeling like it's a advocate in their pocket. And also another card holders said that they often worry about being misunderstood or unable to clearly explain their needs if something goes wrong. So now having the card on hand, they feel more supported, and it sort of speaks on their behalf. And I have a really lovely story actually of we had a testimonial sent through recently of a autistic man that had many times had police called on him when he was in a community if he was having a hard time. And he was in a mall one day. He's a very tall, larger man. And when he becomes distressed, people often see that as him being aggressive. And so, but he had the National Assistance card with him at this particular time. And when security were called to him, he showed them the card. And in the past, police had been called in those situations. And this time, security were actually able to provide a much more supportive response, and police weren't called. And I think that's just a really good example of how, when people have the right information, they often do respond in ways which are more supportive.
So in what types of locations or services might cardholders use the National Assistance Card? And if those locations don't sort of know about the National Assistance Card, how can we help them to promote the National Assistance Card and help them to sort of recognise when people are actually in trouble?
Look, it's a really great question, because the card is a valuable resource, but really it does rely on people in the community reading the card and responding. And we've had some really great examples of where people have done that. Sometimes the person has actually known what the National Assistance Card is, and other times they haven't. But we encourage card holders just to use the card wherever they feel it might be helpful. It can be used, like I said earlier, in everyday situations. So, and I encourage people to, when there are services or places they frequent regularly, it's a really good idea to show the card also when you're not in distress. And that's an opportunity when you're in a comfortable state of mind to be able to have those conversations with people, to show them what the card is and talk to them about it. But also, if people have new support workers, new teachers, or new people coming into their life, it's a great way of showing the card and having that conversation early. It's also can be helpful to have conversations with caregivers and or any supports in your circle, in that how you might practice using the card when you are feeling distressed, or how it might be most easily accessed. If for example, we have some card holders who have conditions such as epilepsy. So in those cases, it might be easier to have the card around a lanyard or in an area, a part of your body where it's easily accessed, as opposed to it being tucked away in a bag or a pocket.
So I suppose the hidden disabilities lanyard and also the National Assistance Card probably goes hand in hand in some situations. Have you seen people actually do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we also have a lanyard that we provide as well, if people aren't already signed up to the Invisible Disabilities lanyard. But it's a really lovely pairing, and I think especially when people are travelling, on airports or internationally, that Invisible Disability lanyard is it's very identifiable. It really stands out. But what a lot of the feedback we're getting from people is they really want to have that greater level of personalisation. So the lanyard provides that instant recognition, and the card provides that detailed, that sort of real personalised information.
Okay, so how does the QR code and the card work, and what additional information can it provide?
Yeah. So like I said, when someone's applying for the card, that's where they can put that information in on the QR code, and that can be changed at any time without seeking permission. So when somebody scans the back of the card, that will bring up the page with that extra information. So we've had some, everyone is different, like I said. So we've had some people just prefer written word, and other people have got a short video as well, or both. So some people have put things like, if I'm overwhelmed, please don't touch me, as it will just make the situation worse. Just ask if you can take me to a quiet space, that kind of thing. And I think that's just a really very simple message. Other people have added things like, I'm just as intelligent as you. I just have memory and speech difficulties. With a bit of patience, I usually remember the thread of what's going on. We also have people who put more detailed information. So, for example, if they've had a seizure, how people might respond to them, or just more detailed information of what supports they might require. But again, it's very personalised, and as a person's situation changes, they might update and change that over time.
Okay, so how can families, carers, or support workers benefit from someone having a National Assistance Card?
Yeah, look, I think the biggest bit of feedback that we get is that it really provides peace of mind for families and carers. I think everyone really wants to support the independence of people with disabilities, and I think anything that helps an individual have that confidence and security, but also for the family and carers to know that there is this backup plan, that if things do go wrong, that there is a way that additional support can be provided. One parent shared that if their child were ever involved in a car accident, they wanted emergency staff to know that their disability was pre-existing, and that the National Assistance Card has really helped with that. And we've also had a support worker for someone living with dementia who shared that their client really wants to get out and about in the community, and the card really helps to make that happen. We've also had examples of where the parent has used the card when they themselves as a parent has a disability, and there have been high stress scenarios, and they've been able to show the card in a way to get that information across quickly, and that has happened in sort of emergency situations where they've had to go to the ER or engaging with ambulance, and as a parent with disability they've needed a way of getting the information of their child across quite quickly, and the card has been very helpful for them with that.
Okay, and what should emergency services or the general community know about recognising and responding to the National Assistance Card?
So the National Assistance Card is quite distinct, and on the front it does say National Assistance Card, so it's very easy to recognise. It has a white background, a red border, and the card holder's photo. So the first thing to do is just to acknowledge that you recognise the card, and it's very simple. Speak in a very clear but normal voice and just ask the card holder how you can assist them. But most importantly, read the card. If they show you, they just show you the front of the card, then it might just be letting you know that they might need a bit of extra assistance or support, but they might not want to give you that extra information. If they show you the back of the card, that's where the more personalised information is, where they're telling you their disability type and the specific impacts. So read those impacts, and if they want you to, then scan the QR code to find out more, and then really apply the information that's on that card. So if they've given you some advice around how to support them, it's really stepping in and looking at how you can apply that.
And one more question, if anybody wants to promote their National Assistance Card or basically sort of have their workplace sort of promoted and basically sort of advocated in what way, what can they do?
Look, on our website, we have a page full of resources that they can use, whether it's a business or a service provider. We have a lot of resources that they can download and print. We're also available to provide educational presentations if that's required for training of staff. But really, all the information is on our website, so we really encourage people to get onto the nationalassistancecard.com.au.
And on that note, Marie-Clare Couper, thank you so much for being part of the Deep Dive podcast today.
Thank you, Michael. Really, really lovely to be here with you today.
To find out more about the National Assistance Card, go to nationalassistancecard.com.au